Wreck-It Ralph is one of the first movies that brought characters from video games together on screen before they made their own adaptation. Some good, others sure, they didn't have much screen time, but what made this movie solely remember is the story of Ralph, sympathizing him in working a thankless job, being outcasted because of what he is, leading to commit drastic actions to be good. And then you have Vanellope's story, paralleling to him as well, creating a memorable story of friendship. So when it comes to the Ralph breaks the internet, all the lessons they learn and grow from each other gets thrown out the window for the sequel. Never have I seen a character assassinated so brutally for a movie. So, let's dive in. One of many plots for this movie is that Vanellope, after 6 years, got on board with her game, wanted something new and interesting in her life, while Ralph wants everything to remain the same, which gets resolved poorly towards the end. Ralph decides to make it interesting for her by jumping into her game while it's active and creating a new track leading to Vanellope to explore it, taking over the control of the player, causing a struggle for the wheel, eventually breaking it. A lot of problems. For starters, Ralph unknowingly committed Turbo. Did he honestly forgot about the consequences it will lead to jumping into another game? Even if he wanted to do something nice, he would have done it when the arcade was closed. Even though Ralph is blaming himself, he's not the only one at fault, because why would Vanellope take control over the player?
Never interfere with the first-person shooter.
You get the point. She knows better not to interfere. It's like in Toy Story, one of them starts to walk down the other side of the room while Andy's playing. It's just unspoken rules that shouldn't be broken. Eventually, at tampers with Felix, he burps,
Hey, oh boy.
reminding Ralph about a website called eBay, so he convinces Vanellope to travel together into the internet. What makes it concerning is that they'll spend the next 24 hours in there, leaving the game without a villain. The line,
I will cover for you,
doesn't really help out, it just only makes it worse. So the exploring starts to bid against a user, eventually leading to the number to go from 300 to 27,001. Realizing they need to pay this amount because eBay doesn't have a thing to let you retract a bid if you made a mistake. Nope, that doesn't exist, it won't just get in the way of the movie. They need to come up with a plan to make 27 grand in 24 hours, or she'll lose her game. So they try in a game called Slaughter Race, a poor man version of GTA, to steal Shank's car. That's worth 40k. To be fair, I've seen more expensive in-game items. This only makes Vanellope discover the love for the game and the people living in here, which makes Ralph jealous. After failing to get Shank's car because the movie needs to continue, Shank tells him to travel to a place called the Bus Tube and meet Yes, the algorithm. With only 8 hours left, Ralph convinces Yes, the algorithm, to help him make money for making BuzzTube videos, which doesn't sound absurd at all. Also, to get a bit of a tangent, YouTube also exists, but they're using BuzzTube as their own YouTube. I guess Google let them use their brand for 10 seconds. Ralph makes old trending videos back in the 2010s, somehow managed to pump so much videos it gets news coverage, eventually managed to make 30k less than 8 hours. I'm sorry, but what? I can believe a dude willing to pay in-game item for 40k, but managed to make this much videos. That's not how it works. And what causes Ralph to give up on videos is that people are saying mean comments. Despite that, it won't pull him down because it's all worth it for Vanellope. After getting the wheel, he's wondering where she is, so he attempts to call her, only to accidentally overhear Vanellope telling Shanks she wants to stay in Slaughter Race since she finds it to be her true calling in life, not Sugar Rush. This upsets Ralph since he can't stand to be separated from her more than a second, so he asks family to take him to the dark web where he plans to release a virus to make the game so slow it becomes too boring for Vanellope, convincing her to go back to the arcade. Does Ralph just have Alzheimer's, or did he forget about how much destruction our virus can do? Which unsurprisingly, it goes instantly wrong since the virus looks out for flaws and repeatedly clones it, which it discovers Vanellope glitch and closes to the point it becomes so unstable the game reboots itself and almost kills Vanellope in the process. Ralph eventually admits it to her about how he spread the virus and overheard the conversation, causing a rift between the relationship. As that happens, the virus escapes and copies Ralph's insecurity, spreading clothes on him throughout the internet, essentially destroying the whole network. In other words, Ralph caused the fall of the first net. They intend to lead the World War Z Ralphs to the antivirus, only to cause them to form a kaiju and steals Vanellope. So Ralph learns to let go of Vanellope to let her chase her dreams, which they curse the virus and the internet is safe. In the end, Vanellope chases her dreams to essentially become a permanent character at Slaughter Race because she doesn't have other responsibilities like taking care of people and doing the textbook definition of going turbo. They also manage to plow their ass an excuse to let her stay in the game without worry, but writing her code into it. How is that possible? Don't know, never explained. Ralph learns to let things go and accept change, and that mostly covers this movie. So let's start with Ralph, where his character isn't even a former shadow of himself. I've never seen a completely butchery of a character. Ralph acts very much like a child throughout this movie, even though he's supposed to be more of an adult, where you have Ralph not understanding why Vanellope is upset in losing her game. Even though she said it was boring, Ralph knows better of someone losing a game. He's been doing this for 30 years, seeing games come and go, as well as the homeless it brings. Instead, you have other characters tell him why she's upset. Then, you have Ralph become pretty much creepy towards Vanellope, how he can't be without her more than a second. This movie couldn't acknowledge that Ralph doesn't want to be lonely like in the first film, or Vanellope is the only person he can relate to. Instead, it's more about Ralph being overly obsessed with her friendship, being jealous whenever someone talks to her. One of the biggest sins is him doing the same mistake as the last film, where in the first 10 minutes he pulled a turbo. He's supposed to know better not to jump a game when the arcade is open, but we need the movie to happen, so why not bend his character a bit? Then you have him purposely release a virus into another game. It's one thing repeating the same plot, but it's another thing having Ralph doing it. Even though Ralph didn't meant to do in the first film, however, this was part of the consequences of going turbo, so he was willing to die to fix his mistake and save Vanellope. But this movie just destroys that, with him intentionally releasing a virus where he's supposed to know better how much damage it can do, essentially destroying his character in the process. Then Vanellope, just like Ralph, also gets butchered by this movie, since her story arc is to find something new and exciting in her life, because Sugar Rush is starting to seem mundane and predictable. When discovering a new racing game, she decides this is her true purpose in life and wants to be part of the game. In other words,
"You're not going turbo, are you?"
Of all the characters least likely to go turbo, it's Vanellope. Her life was ruined. She lived a constant misery, being bullied from everyone. She lived a lonely life home, and then one day she's able to race. However, in Candy, or should I say Turbo, won't let that happen. Why the hell would the writers do this? It makes me question they didn't even watch the first movie. None of the characters, especially Ralph, tells her what she's doing is wrong. This is the part of the movie that frustrates me the most. Just because Turbo died doesn't mean his legacy is gone. It's a cautionary tale for everyone what not to do. When the both of them argue, you have Vanellope saying,
"Please, I'm one of 16 racers. They'd never miss me."
The dialogue is completely out of character. She's one of the most popular racers in Sugar Rush, where you have children mentioning her.
Pick Vanellope, Swatty. She's got the best superpower. Yeah, the glitch. I love her.
So yes, players will be curious what happened to her, potentially could cause the game to shut down. As if that's not enough, what about her people?
Without a princess, who's gonna lead us?
Good question. Who is leading them? I guess the writers forgot about Vanellope being the president because she doesn't like to be labeled as a princess because that's not who she is. The sequel tries to create a journey for this character that goes against everything that happened in the first film. As for the new cast, you have Shanks. Her character is to spew out motivation speeches like friendship and life lessons like she's a goddamn fortune cookie. Yes, comes across annoying like the Borderlands 3 twins spewing that pep dialogue, making me want to jump out the window. The only one that actually kind of liked was Family, being a shady merchant, and his little partner Gord, that little freak of nature. I will bring up Felix and Colholm, but they have so little involvement in this movie they might as well not exist. The world building for the internet is interesting looking at all, since they don't do a lot of creative things with it. We have something like Twitter, so they had birds on trees just chirping. Amazon being a big box, YouTube, I mean, BuzzFeed doesn't make sense how it works. How does your NPC goes from one video to another? Does she just walk around to different videos? It seems slow. It makes more sense to instantly teleport. Being a Disney production, they can't help but stroke their own ego by having their website be a magical place, having a bit of a fan service with all the Disney princesses hanging out. Not to sound too cynical, there are some things that I like, being the spam pop-up ads with sassy moms, the way the NPC travel to different websites with little cars. Speaking of BuzzFeed, we had a lot of problems that tries to portray YouTube. I'm pretty disgusted how it makes it seem you can make quick actions just hours by making a bunch of funny clips. No, it takes time and effort to produce videos, especially large ones you see on big and small channels. A lot of research and editing goes into them. It takes years to make any progress, praying the algorithm is kind to you, but most likely will lead to nowhere. Same can go for channel that does animation in small clips, needing to do daily uploads or produce 10 minutes to make any real income. It's a brutal race with many taking breaks or just quitting. And when it comes to the comment section, you can make the argument that Ralph doesn't like to be insulted since it reminds him where he was at before, but this film is portraying YouTube. Many will believe the worst part of the job is the comment section saying your mom's gay. No, it's the burnout, not being able to come up with videos or being motivated. It also doesn't help that the people running this platform has the intelligence of a walnut and should go back organizing a book club instead of running a platform they know frightening little about. I went a bit of a tangent, so let's wrap this up. Ralph Breaks the Internet is a frustrating movie to watch. Seeing characters doing things you know they're not supposed to do, how poorly portray some parts of the internet, and a mess with multiple plots, sacrificing characters so it can happen, as well as padding it out to reach movie's length. It makes it one of the most depressing sequels to watch to one of Disney's best movie. Thanks for watching, and bye.